Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
Today on the Ask the Messengers TV show, our Veterans series continues with testimonies from veterans. They share their experience about being a veteran. They share their experience about being in the military. They share their experience about the help that they received from various veteran administration services. So for now, let's get started with Ask the Messengers TV show.
Well, to give you a little context to the time and what was going on during those times, it was in 1968. It was the height of the civil rights movement. People that looked like us were being lynched and murdered down south for trying to vote and get folks to register to vote. There was protests against Vietnam and the war. The hippies was into the psychedelics, and the heroin was coming into the major cities like Maine. And the times were changing. And my thought and the guys that I hung out with was, how can we get paid? How can we make some money? I mean, I went to a Black Panther party. I saw Malcolm X speak, and I was Yip Yip Ray, and I wore fez, and I would wear dashikis. But really, how can I get paid? Was the mindset. And they were drafting people. And Abraham Reese, that lived around the corner, that used to run with us, he got killed in Vietnam. I'm the oldest of 5 boys. I knew they were going to draft me, but I don't want to go over there and fight them people. They ain't got nothing to do with me. They ain't never did nothing to me and my people. But anyway, I came up with a bright idea. And my bright idea was to join the Air Force, go to Vietnam, get a connect, and hook the connect back up to Detroit, to my brothers and my partners in Detroit, so we could start a pipeline. That was my reason for going in the Air Force. Before I picked up, I was a full-fledged criminal. When I went in the Air Force, I was a full-fledged criminal. My roommate was my first roommate, and my first base up in Maine, Loring Air Force Base, Maine, was from Brooklyn, Brownsville. He was just like my boys back in the projects. He was a full-fledged criminal before he even came in the Air Force. Before you know it, you got 2 knuckleheads with that type of mentality in the Air Force. Out of 80 guys in basic training that graduated from basic training, there was only 4 of us that made an excellent in every phase of basic training, and I was one of them. The riots happened on 12th Street. I had went to the after-hour joint the night the Big Four came in there. We got there like around 12 at night. After-hour joints don't start till 2. So we left there and went to the 20 grand. Them same Big Four police stopped us 2 blocks before we got to the 20 grand. They found syrup on us and they found joints on us, but they let us go because they deal with major crime. So they was looking for the dude that they eventually went into the after-hour joint, and that's when the riot started. I was living around the block. I was standing on 12th looking at the riot when it was happening. Like, I'm living history. I was 19 and I wasn't dumb. I had I was in an altered state of reality when it came to real life and my fantasy,
Right.
Of being a gangster. And I didn't make my bones. I got to a situation in the street where I couldn't pull the trigger. And I said, this is not for me. Let me go in the Air Force. I'll hit that lick and I'll get, because my boys went and did a bank robbery the day I went in the Air Force. They went and did a bank robbery. That was an accomplishment for me as a human being that raised my ego to a level that I had never felt before.
I was laid off from Ford Motor Company for like 4.5, almost 5 years. I went back to school, got my GED, went back to college, graduated, there was no jobs out because we was talking about a 1982 recession, beginning of a recession back in February of 1982. And they were laying off a bunch of auto workers and postal workers and people like that. So I went to engineering school. I started studying electrical engineering, design engineer tech. So I ran out of money, and my brother-in-law was a lieutenant in the military, and I seen how good he were doing. And then it was peacetime. And it was join the Army, be all you can be with the jobs and everything. So, and what really inspired me was crack came down in the summer of 1986. My wife and I had a neighbor that brought over a 51. And we had a couple of dollars in our pocket, and we smoked it. We liked it, you know, so we sent them back probably about 2 or 3 times. And on the third time, I was like, man, don't bring that crap back in my house. It's evil, you know. And my whole neighborhood was turning into crack addicts. So my plan was to go in the military and see how I like it, because I went in at age 27. But however, I was physically fit from being an industrial athlete at Ford Motor Company. So I went in at 27, and they made me a class leader. And I'm 6'3" tall, 6'3", 225 pounds, and the drill sergeant decided to make me a class leader, and they beat up on me pretty bad because I was from Detroit. I went to Fort Jackson, Columbia, South Carolina on Tank Hill. So I did my basic there, and I did my AIT there. And during the course, I was the assistant drill sergeant, so they wanted me to go to drill sergeant school. But maybe about almost a year in it, I had the fire guards that's on guard while the soldiers are sleeping. We get phone calls from our spouse, but they was like, wife called me and told me Ford Motor Company called me back. But my idea was to get my family out of the neighborhood and go to Germany or something like that to try to escape the crack epidemic.
Okay.
So Ford called me back, and I was into the Army, the Michigan National Guard. So I stayed with both of them for 9 years. And when I quit, it was because there was too many hours and I was having problems up with the top in the military.
I enlisted into the military in 1985, and one of the things that made me join up with the military was in was it around 1979? I caught a case. I caught a felony case for attempt to possess heroin. There was a lot of guys selling drugs back at that time here in Detroit. And I hung out in a lot of places where a lot of drug sales was being made. Police pulled up on us. It was probably about 5 or 6 of us standing in front of the bar that night. I never forget it. And the drugs was tossed. And one of the police officers claimed he saw me throw it. Mm-hmm. So I went to court. You know, I was found guilty for having those drugs. And I received 2 years probation because it was a first offense for me at that time. So I got smart and decided, well, I gotta get away from this scene. And I said, well, okay. I went and I enlisted. Something happened right after I enlisted. I was in basic training. I won't forget this. I was in basic training, and the MPs came out one day and gathered a few of us up as we were in training, and they pulled us to the side and they started an investigation, because once they run your name and everything through the system, they can find out whether you were on probation or anything you had that was pending with law enforcement, wherever you came from before you enlisted in the military. And they would have to investigate those things before they allow you to continue your service. So they investigated probably about 7 of us that they had pulled out, and they conducted an investigation. And apparently Now there was a couple of buddies of mine that you know was in training with me who was actually arrested, and they pulled out of basic training. They were arrested because they had cases pending wherever they had enlisted, cities where they were living before they enlisted. When I remember one fellow, he actually was some kind of drug dealer where he had a drug case pending, and he was arrested and he was taken out. Fortunately enough, I was allowed to go into my next duty assignment.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available. If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. You can also email our office at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
Do you have an excellent driving record? Are you able to lift at least 50 pounds? Then what are you waiting for? Come drive for us. Pure Logistics USA has immediate openings for drivers to deliver Amazon packages within the metropolitan Detroit area. Apply today at purelogisticsusa.com. Pure Logistics USA is an equal opportunity employer offering excellent pay, benefits, and inclusive environment for all employees. Must be at least 21 to apply.
Underage drinking is responsible for more than 4,300 deaths of youth annually. DWIHN, along with its provider partners, strive to educate young people on the deadly dangers of alcohol use and abuse. We teach youth about the dangers of drinking, especially when driving. If you are looking for resources to share with your loved one, give the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network a call 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help. More than 2.5 million Americans are addicted to opioids. The addiction is sometimes developed through the improper use of prescription painkillers. Using prescribed medication in ways or amounts not intended by a doctor is very dangerous. So it's important that unused prescriptions are properly disposed of. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, or for more information about prevention, treatment, and recovery services, or how to properly dispose of medication, contact the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help.
Have you guys ever utilized any services? Did you know that there were services? Even today, there are services right here in Wayne County, and I'm sure that there's veteran services all over the world. Have you guys ever used any of those services for yourselves, or know anybody that has?
Well, I tried there's different branches of the Army. Like Pancho was saying, from the Vietnam era, a lot of these guys saw action, and they was active duty.
Okay.
And if you get an injury in there, the injury is always connected to some type of services.
Okay.
During the war times.
All right.
But Derek and I went at peacetime. Now, me myself, I was in the Army National Guards. And there was no peacetime. I mean, there was no active, except when I was in training.
Okay.
Now, they do not give you services for National Guards, period. Unless you was like deployed somewhere. And when I got out, I think there was something going on in Philadelphia, but I had just got home and I didn't go. That would have been like my action in the military. But I did get injured in the National Guards, and I have a claim in, and if that claim is, and they base the claim on the disability on percentage. 100% comes with all the services you can get, which is the GI Bill, housing, school, things like that.
So it's all based on National Guards, they aren't afforded the same services as a full.
No, unless we've seen some action, like the National Guards was the first ones to go to Vietnam War back in the day. They were the first one to go.
Okay.
So back in the day, yes, but Some National Guards got deployed over to Desert Storm. They got deployed over to the Sand Wars over there. So they saw action over there.
I think when it comes to the reserves of the National Guard, in terms of what benefits you might be eligible, has to do a lot with how much active duty time you've had. Now, personally, myself, I was eligible for some benefits when I ETS out of the military. As you said, there was the GI Bill. I personally never took advantage of any of them.
Let me lead into this before we go to a break. So why is it that we had a guest who was the director, Kwesi Betsarai. He's a retired major, and he's the division director for Wayne County Veteran Services. And he says that a lot of times people don't take advantage of the services that are to them because of maybe some pride, or they just don't know that the services are available, or mostly pride, because when you're in the military, you have your uniform on, and then when you come back to civilian life, now you got to figure out how you're gonna live without that uniform of protection. So why do you think that people don't utilize the services if they're available to them? Anyone can answer that.
I want to say this, and then I'm going to let Pancho take over. I think he's probably a more expert in that area, but I don't believe it's so much pride as it is some people are just not educated to the benefits that's available to them.
Okay.
The reason why a lot of people just don't take advantage of the different benefits that's out there.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to add to that comment before we go to a break?
Yeah, I can tell you, yes, I have utilized the services. The reason I came into recovery was because across the street from the derelict building that I was living in on Woodward Avenue in Adelaide was a vet center. I went in that vet center when I was at my bottom in desperation, seeking help, and the two guys there, Freddie Harper, I was in elementary school with him. I hadn't seen him in years, but I remember Freddie, and Dave, white boy Dave, who ended up being my first sponsor. They brought me, that's when I came into recovery from that vet center. Today I work with vet centers. Today I represent vet center employees.
Let's take a break here, and when we're going to come back, we're going to just kind of fast forward into what you're doing currently, and we're going to let you go into a little bit more detail about what you do as a labor activist for veterans. And Clifton, we want to hear about what you are doing to help the recovery community as well. So this is Tina Nelson for the Ask the Messengers TV show. And when we come back, we will continue this discussion, and we will continue to celebrate veterans. Do you have an excellent driving record? Are you able to lift at least 50 pounds? Then what are you waiting for? Come drive for us. Pure Logistics USA has immediate openings for drivers to deliver Amazon packages within the metropolitan Detroit area. Apply today at purelogisticsusa.com. Pure Logistics USA is an equal opportunity employer offering excellent pay, benefits, and inclusive environment for all employees. Must be at least 21 to apply.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
You can pay online by visiting the Wayne County Treasurer's Office website. Paying online is easy and convenient.
You can also download the mobile app and pay with your smartphone.
You can pay at one of 70 kiosks located throughout Wayne County.
And yes, you can always still send in your payments using the U.S. Postal Service.
If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. Your health and safety is very important to us. You can also email our office at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
Underage drinking is responsible for more than 4,300 deaths of youth annually. DWIHN, along with its provider partners, strive to educate young people on the deadly dangers of alcohol use and abuse. We teach youth about the dangers of drinking, especially when driving. If you are looking for resources to share with your loved one, give the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network a call, 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help. More than 2.5 million Americans are addicted to opioids. The addiction is sometimes developed through the improper use of prescription painkillers. Using prescribed medication in ways or amounts not intended by a doctor is very dangerous. So it's important that unused prescriptions are properly disposed of. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, or for more information about prevention, treatment, and recovery services, or how to properly dispose of medication, contact the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help.
We are back with the Ask the Messengers TV show. And first, we just want to give a great thank you and a salute to all the veterans. Now, earlier we were just talking about these guys in their life as thugs and in addiction and coming out and chasing the money and how we made it to the Army. And now let's talk about what you guys are doing for the community. You guys went, you served your country. Now you're serving your community. Clifton, tell us what you do for the community. So you're here in Detroit. Let me clarify that too. You're here in Detroit. So what are you doing you work in recovery, correct?
Yes, I work in recovery, and also I work at the Michigan Service Office of Narcotics Anonymous in Ferndale. People call around in all the areas in their meetings and get literature from us, the basic texts and supplies like that, Serenity tags on up to the IPs and different things like that. And also all over the United States, people will call me to ship orders to them as well.
So I have a question for you. How have you guys maintained and functioned in light of COVID? So what adjustments and changes have you guys had to make?
Well, we went down on limited hours because the hours are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 to 6, the normal hours, and Saturday from 10 to 4. So we lowered the hours from 10 to 3, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
Okay, so you guys are still working in the office, and are you seeing clients? Are you handling clients as well?
People are coming in. People call in the orders for us to ship, as well as they come in the office, and we got it pretty anti-COVID-19 pretty much in the office, and everyone have to wear masks coming in and stuff.
So one of our staff members, the epidemic still exists on top of the pandemic, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Don't get it twisted. It's still out here, right?
Yes, right. Also, right. I do a lot of outreach with my church.
Okay.
And I have been doing that in my addiction, my wife and I still do it, and in the community as well. Working food prep programs and getting people to resources as far as just getting the ID or some insurance on them and things like that. So yes.
So do you think that some of your past experiences is what led you to this passion of this giving back that you do on a daily basis? Because there was a time when you was on the other side. So
yeah, well, yes, I would say so, Tina. Yes.
Okay, good. Mr. Pancho. So
yes,
you are by virtuously from Detroit, but you now reside in a nice sunny place, right?
Yes, I live in paradise.
Yeah, well, you send some of that, can you send some of that sun up here to us? And you help people in recovery too. Tell a little bit about what you do for your community there.
Well, I'm 72 years old this past August. I'm retired from the VA. I'm a union steward still. Okay. Part-time, I get paid for being a union steward. Part-time, I interact with the political machines here. I'm very involved, and I'm getting to know people, and people are getting to know me. Shot callers, political shot callers, and it's through my union work that led me to that. Not all union stewards dedicate themselves to working families. I do. I do. My grandfather was from Ford Motor Company, UAW. My father worked for the city of Detroit. He was a Teamster. The unions built the middle class. I used when I was in the service. I don't know if you guys did or not. And I was only in there for a year. I got a good discharge and I had bought a new car and I came home. I went to New York and hooked up with my boy from New York, and then I came home.
Okay. But I didn't use in the service.
Yeah. Okay. And I was, yeah. Derek.
No, neither did I. I never used in the service. I can say before I went in and after.
And after? Yeah. Okay. You cleaned up while you was in the military. All right.
Let me clarify that. I used alcohol in the military.
Okay.
There were plenty of it. Plenty of it.
I know. I remember y'all dudes used to get drunk, and I'd be like, why the hell they getting drunk? What they getting out of that? I remember y'all.
So listen, guys, I appreciate you guys taking time and sharing your journey and sharing your story. You know, this month is, you know, Veterans Day is now Veterans Month, which it should just be veterans all the time. But we set aside some time during the month of November to spotlight veterans such as yourself. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the continued service that you're doing for the communities that you reside in, to do your part to just make this world a better place, piece by piece, bit by bit. So this is Tina Nelson for the Ask the Messengers TV show. And again, we salute the troops. And we appreciate you for your service, and thank you for watching the Ask the Messengers TV show.
Won't you help us to do exactly what our motto is, and that is to help save lives? Won't you send a generous donation to the information there on the screen?
Hello. On Thursday, American families across the nation and stationed around the world will gather to celebrate Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a uniquely American holiday. We are thankful for all that we have in our lives, our families, health and well-being, and freedom to pursue our own version of the American dream. As veterans and people who work on behalf of veterans, we know what it takes to protect and preserve our freedom and the American way of life. We know we owe an enormous debt of gratitude to the men and women who serve in uniform. Some of those men and women are deployed overseas this Thanksgiving. And for some families, there are empty seats at the Thanksgiving table for the sons and daughters who've made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Understanding this makes Thanksgiving all the more poignant for us. In a way, our work at VBA is done in the spirit of giving thanks. So this Thanksgiving, when you begin your meal and say your blessing, thank the men and women in the military who protect our freedoms. So happy Thanksgiving. May God continue to bless the United States of America.